What is up, Ravens Flock? Huge shout out for your support for the 410 Sports Talk. James and Glenn are the best in the business. They're killing it right now. They love talking Raven talk. Make sure you go subscribe to their channel. Let's go Ravens. Big trust.
Welcome in, everyone, to another live reaction. The Ravens are on the clock at pick number 76, so their third round selection. And, we're awaiting the announcement right now. But, Jimbo, I just got to, I'm going to give you a quick, who's available right now. Still the big tackle from Central Michigan, the converted tight end, Bernard Raymond, still out there. PFF has him ranked as the 18th overall prospect. Surprising he's still there. Then another guy who has been linked to the Ravens, Nakobe Dean, the linebacker from Georgia, kind of surprised to see him there. And then a guy that DraftPlex was super high on and said if Jordan Davis wasn't stealing all the spotlight, that Travis Jones from Connecticut, the interior D lineman, would be the first interior defensive tackle, I should say, selected. So a lot of good players still left for the Ravens to choose from. What's your hunch on where they go here, Jimbo?
Yeah, I mean, you've talked a lot about corners, and I'm trying to figure out here who the best available corners are.
Well, the guy I had mocked to us is Marcus Jones, but he's a slot guy, and to me, the Ravens, with all the safeties they got that look like slot guys, to me, you got to get an outside corner if you're going to draft a corner here. So, the question is, do you get the value at outside corner right now?
But I agree with you in that the tackle seems to be a nice pick because he's more of a development player. I think that's part of the reason why he's still available. But he has time to develop, right? Like, I mean, obviously, if Ronnie ends up being an issue, he doesn't have much time, but I think he'll have time to develop in the long run. So I think there could be a lot of value there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there a guy you're hoping for? Because I got one, Jimbo.
I like Dean.
Yeah.
Who are you hoping for?
Nakobe Dean. I mean, it's not, and the challenging thing is it's not obviously the biggest, most immediate need. I think if we're going for need, then you gotta either draft an outside corner who can help stabilize on the outside, because they got plenty of guys that can play inside, and then I think you continue to attack the edge position because I love the David Ajabo pick, but he's not going to be ready week one, and right now week one we have Odafe Owe and Dalen Hayes on the outsides. To me, that's not something that gets me too thrilled. I mean, I love Odafe Owe, but Dalen Hayes really didn't play at all in his rookie season last year.
Yeah, so he's still an absolute unknown and unpolished, unexperienced. I shouldn't say unpolished, unexperienced at an NFL level, right? Because he hasn't played a real game yet. Dude, it's crazy that Malik Willis is still on the board, don't you think?
Yeah, a little surprising to see him now. He's at best going to be the third quarterback taken. No doubt that surprises me. Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's any other names that I really liked in one of my mocks. I took Leo Chanel. Channel.
Yeah.
I really like him as well at inside linebacker, but same position. It's kind of a pick your flavor at this point, at least between the backers. I'm trying to remember who else I really liked here. I think the tackle is the highest value pick because we don't want a quarterback.
D-tackle, right?
Well, no, I mean, I think the O-tackle.
Oh, you like O-tackle?
Yeah, I mean, because we don't need a defensive tackle.
No, we don't need one. But we will need one next year.
That's true.
And if Derek Wolfe isn't able to come back,
and maybe a third round guy makes more sense for if he is a 2-down player.
There you go. Exactly. So while I agree with you, it's not the most immediate need, but neither is Nakobe Dean, and that's the guy I'm kind of hoping for. But there's also let's see, Kingsley Anagbar from South Carolina. I think a little shorter than typically. Okay, here we go. Pick is in. Let's see. Here we go. I'm going to ruin it for you, Jimbo. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I've already given up.
Travis Jones. Just like we were just talking about, the D tackle from Connecticut that we said that I was just mentioning. If Jordan Davis wasn't here, he would be the first defensive tackle taken. So kind of
there he is.
Kind of saw this one coming a little bit in a way, but I did name a few guys. But let me just kind of show you what what they're getting in a guy like Travis Jones, a guy that DraftPlex was extremely high on, who is our resident draft expert. All right, so here's
it's funny
Travis
that
Jones.
ESPN's description of him says that he's massive. You put him next to Jordan Davis, and he's not.
Nobody's massive next to Jordan Davis, but he's 6'4", 325, so he's no small guy.
Now, and then it says here he's 6'5", 333.
Yeah, I love how on the literal exact same page it has two different sets of measurements. That's beautiful. Yeah. But here's what's cool. He racked up 25 pressures and 21 run stops this season and dominated at the Senior Bowl. So he seems to be a guy that can give you a little bit in both regards.
Oh, geez.
So, look
at the first con.
Yeah, well, look, he's I guess he's going to be the Brandon Williams,
right.
Of the future.
Well, Brandon's one heck of an athlete, but as far as
but he didn't bring anything to the pass rush game, which
right. As far as use, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I mean, look, a big, strong guy who it's like they said, his assignment is immovable. Just be the immovable object, and he's got that. So long arms, which you like seeing from the interior defensive lineman, strong hands. So yeah, I mean, I like what they're getting in this guy because of the fact that you got an aging defensive line and you need to replace it with some young talent, and this guy seems to be perfect fit for what the Ravens need inside.
Yeah, no kidding. Now, the one thing I just want to note about this pick is that, like you said, it helps with an aging line, but a lot of people are clamoring. I'm not one of them, but a lot of people are clamoring for a wide receiver.
Yeah.
We're still not there. Now we still have 6 picks in the 4th round, but it's not super often that you find an immediate impact guy in the 4th round at wide receiver. I'm not saying it's impossible. It's just not super often, right?
Yeah.
So that is the one thing that is on my mind with this pick being made. Not that there was a lot of value to take a wide receiver because there was already a run, right? There's multiple runs on receivers. It's been well raked and raked over again, right?
Exactly. So I don't necessarily, even with the Marquise Brown move, look at it as the most immediate of needs when I think we got some young talent there. And I think there's an opportunity to maybe add a veteran with the cap space you've created after the draft, because there's going to be a bunch of post-draft cuts because there's still a ton of teams that are so far and away above the cap that they're going to have to do something in order to get below it. So and there's still opportunities to get a guy later on in the draft. But I think the biggest surprise here, Jimbo, is that they would decide to go interior rather than edge.
Yeah, rather than double up.
Yeah, well, because Ajabo can't help week 1.
Right. And the other thing, too, to keep your eyes on, guys, if there's a player, like, don't put it past the Ravens, who have 6 fourth rounders, to be aggressive and go up and get him. Like, if there's a guy, yeah, exactly. If there's a guy they like, keep your eyes on that, because I would bet a lot of money there's no way they'd take 6 fourth rounders.
I'd be surprised, man. I would be really, really surprised. But now, to get up into the 4th round, you're going to have to give up a pretty penny, because
get up into the 3rd, you're saying?
I mean, up into the 3rd round, you're going to have to give up a pretty penny, because, a team's going to have to drop a pretty, good amount, unless you just get into the back end of the 3rd, like in the comp pick area, which starts, I think, at 97. Yeah. So it starts at 97. And
let's do this really quickly before we end. I mean, we're excited about the pick, grade the pick out. I mean, what do you give it?
I guess for this pick, this is for my first one that's not an A for the Ravens, because I think they actually knocked the first 3 out of the park.
Yeah.
Although I love the player, and I think you say what you want about this being a passing league. Go look around the AFC North and tell me that you don't need to stop the run when you see Joe Mixon, you see Chubb, and of course Najee Harris now. With the Steelers. So I give this pick. I'm going to call it a B. Because I think he's the second best interior defensive tackle behind Jordan Davis. So, yeah, I'm happy. What do you think?
Yeah, I guess I'll give it a B as a B plus. I'll say I like the pick in the round just to be a little different. But I mean, I essentially agree with you on all fronts. The last thing, if you can, Glenn, if you can pull that up really quickly, I just want to, before we end here, let's review the big board one more time going into the 4th round, because there's still some names. Now we're at pick 76. How far are we through the third at this point?
Well, it ends at here we go. I got
At
it
what,
up here.
90?
Nah, 105.
105?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's still a lot of picks to go, but
Mhm.
let's look at some of these names here and who we can, do you think any of these names, we'll go down this list, who do you see falling like I see Leo potentially being taken in the fourth, like slipping maybe early fourth.
Potential. Yeah.
Are there any other names out there that you see falling into the fourth that you'd like the Ravens to go after? I know we talked about Dylan, and I know we got a center, but he also played left and right guard, and John talked about in the presser there being an open competition at one position, that being left guard. So I wouldn't mind taking him either.
I guess that would be a little surprising because I think Dylan is going to be a center, and also we did just invest, some capital in Ben.
No,
Cleveland.
but he played the majority of his career at guard.
Yeah, absolutely. But you just spend a third round pick last year in Ben Cleveland,
yeah,
and you're already ready to give up on him.
We've done it, right?
Yeah, so I don't know. I think you go somewhere else. I do like him. If they didn't already have Linderbaum, then I'd be super into it. Another guy that's interesting is Greg. I think it's Greg Dulcich, the tight end out of UCLA, because I think tight ends are extremely important to this team, and he is a natural pass catcher and also a willing blocker.
Yeah.
So he's a guy that I think would be an interesting pick. Marcus Jones, I'm super high on, but I just can't see him adding another inside corner.
Yeah. Kellen Deesh is still on the board. I think you guys.
Yeah, you liked him.
I think you guys should keep your eyes on him because I think while his ceiling is low, and not low, but it's lower than the other tackles in this draft, his floor is higher in that if you need a day one guy, Glenn, he might be a better option than some of these other guys that are athletically more gifted, but maybe not technically as skilled.
Yeah, 100%. And you're already getting the positional. You're getting the value if he falls to. Down to where the Ravens are picking in the fourth round.
Is our boy that we both like? Here he is, Dominique Robinson. He's still on the board.
Oh yeah, this is a guy. Me and Jimbo. Yeah, I can't believe it took this long to get down to him. That's crazy. Yeah, we would love to see Dominique Robinson from Miami of Ohio. Of course, John Harbaugh with the strong connections he has there. He certainly,
doesn't he have a statue there?
I think he does, yeah. So certainly has the intel, of all the guys over at Miami of Ohio, but just such an interesting guy because of the fact that he's a converted wide receiver to D end at 6'5", 253 is not something you're typically going to see. But yeah, I love the height, weight, speed type of player you get from Dominique Robinson here. I think he would help day one as a pass rusher. So yeah, he'd be a nice one. Let me just sort
those three together, along with Dylan or Dalen, along with Tyus. Like that's a room you got of young guys.
No doubt. Yeah. So as you can see, just kind of browsing down this list, D'Angelo Malone's another guy who I think is an option. There's a bunch of guys who can bring pass rush, and that's what we need. Like this guy, he's described as a one-trick pony, but pass rush specialist
in this area of the draft. That's fine.
No doubt, and that's exactly what the Ravens need. So, if that's who they can land, if they can land a guy who's maybe a little undersized and maybe struggles to stack against the run, that's fine because we got guys that can do just that. So, yeah, I think edge is a big spot that I'm looking for. Heading into tomorrow with 6 picks. They better get at least one edge. But linebacker is the one that I think is so interesting because I see a lot of linebackers that I think could really help this team. One guy I was super high on that I think they could get towards the second.
He's the converted safety, right?
Yeah, JoJo Domann from Nebraska. I love his coverage ability. Now, I will say that the addition of Kyle Hamilton might make it tougher for Domann to get on the field because now they have 3 safeties, and it's likely one of the 3, either Chuck or Kyle Hamilton, will be now the dime linebacker and have a good shot at playing nickel as well. So I think that's less likely, but man, they got to get corner help and they got to get edge help in a big way in the next 2 rounds.
I mean,
yeah, they got to have the insurance policy. I mean, right now Macari's the insurance policy for left tackle, and but like, what's your thought? I mean, could Macari be serviceable enough to where he wouldn't be just such a glaring weakness that teams?
I think he can.
Okay.
I have a lot of confidence in his ability to. Macari is one of the best people I've ever seen at just hanging in there.
Yeah, just like barely.
Macari just hangs on. You know what I mean? Like He
That's a
just
good way to
does it.
describe him.
You know,
just hangs on.
yeah, like, but it's a talent. Like, it's a real
Yeah.
talent. You know, to be able to just and to know that you're in a situation where you have to do that every single time. It's like one of those wrestlers that does nothing but get in a stalemate every time he's taken down, and then he wins 1-0 because he gets up at the end of the match.
Yeah.
It's like, it's ugly, but they get wins, you know? That's Macari. So yeah, but certainly we would still like to have some guys other than him if we can upgrade there.
This might be one of them, Jimbo. Jamari Sawyer. We talked to Draftplex about
Look at
this
that
guy.
face. He is mean mugging.
Yeah, he looks angry. But Draftplex Jason mentioned that he thinks that he ultimately would probably be better as a guard, but he thinks he's got a shot to play tackle too, and that would be perfect here because if Ronnie is ready, boom, we kick him into guard, and then you got your either your right guard of the future, which you can see he played right guard in the national championship. So he could be the right guard of the future, or he could be your left tackle in the near future, while Ronnie continues, hopefully, to work his way back to playing. So, yeah, lots of exciting, opportunities for the Ravens.
Still
to
lots of
this
meat on the bone, for sure.
No doubt about it. But excited about who they've gotten so far. Again, I gave it a B for their last pick, number 76. But, excited nonetheless. And can't wait to see what they do tomorrow. But let us know what you think in the comments below. Are you happy about the pick? It's hard to get as excited about an interior run, like run stuffing, block eating D tackle. So I understand that. And that's probably part of the reason why I only gave it a B, even though, I think he's a hell of a player. But let us know what you think in the thoughts in the comments below, and we'll talk soon.